ask that question. Or the inevitable, oh, I'm sorry, which made me want to punch a wall because then I'd respond with, well, I'm not, which sounded like I was trying too hard, or like my future ex-husband was a terrible person, or our marriage had been a disaster. And none of those things were true. And then there we'd be, two tight smiles in a face-off, pretending like we weren't marinating in mutual bad feelings. What a perfect way to convince someone to buy your book. The implication behind all of this was, why write about that? And also, ick. Why indeed? Why put my family through this when we were, in fact, still going through it? Why examine something so uncomfortable and bad? Was it always bad? Why do this to my kids when I already said I never wanted to go through the mental gymnastics I had put myself through on my first book, when I wondered why I focused so much on protecting them day to day, but then would turn right around and write about our lives for complete strangers? Why dredge up the past? People really hate all the dredging up of the past. Stuff that shit down where all the feelings go. The answers are likely not all that surprising if you've been through or are going through anything like this currently. I was desperately trying to find meaning in a relationship that had spanned half my life. I was trying to understand what it meant to enter into an arrangement as serious and theoretically permanent as marriage when I was still in my 20s. I wanted to know why I thought that was a good idea and why everyone around us thought that was a good idea too. I wanted to understand what this all meant for me now, a woman who was about to be single and entering her 50s in America, of all places, a country that largely perceives older women as clueless, sexless, useless, and shrill. I wanted to either stop being angry at myself or find new things to get even angrier about. I wanted to move the needle on my thoughts and emotions past the I hate everything red zone I'd been stuck in for 2 years. I wanted to explore whether or not I really knew everything and was very clear on what went down in my marriage, as I had convinced myself over time. More than anything, I wanted to make the case this had all meant something, anything. I wanted to understand who I was, who I am, and who I might be going forward. It became clear to me early on that others were also trying to find meaning in their relationship struggles. They were trying to figure out if happy enough was good enough. More than anything, they just wanted to talk about it, but nobody would talk about it with them, at least not openly or honestly or without platitudes or judgment. We all hear the dramatic stories of divorce, but we don't hear much about boring divorces, or perfectly okay divorces, or divorces that simply signify a relationship has run its course and is now complete. Because if there aren't affairs, custody battles, nervous breakdowns, and an overall sense of humiliation, then who cares? As I discovered, a lot of people do. The idea behind this book took shape just weeks after we announced our divorce straightforwardly and to as many people as possible. In that announcement, we also shared we would continue living together for the foreseeable future. Our children were teenagers, and our time with them was fleeting. Or so we thought. Our announcement took place in a pre-pandemic world where school happened in person, children moved out at 18, and transitions were inevitable. With parenting, they say the days are long, but the years are short. But now the days are years and time is meaningless. What became crystal clear to me in the wake of our announcement was that the simple act of being honest and open about our situation, choosing not to follow the expected script for how marriages typically dissolve, and refusing to act ashamed about any of it, had kicked off a larger conversation. Friends who had felt ambivalent discussing their marriages texted me, asking if we could talk. Friends who were already separated and hadn't told anyone reached out. More than one work call got derailed as someone spilled their guts to me about their marriage or their fears over their career imploding because they were getting older, and suddenly this was all intertwined. Most of the people I knew had married later, had kids later, and now it was all intersecting. Suddenly they were middle-aged with kids still at home, realizing their marriages were either going to implode or just slowly bore them to death. I am not a champion for divorce. I spent the majority of my life running from it, both as a teenager and as an adult. I am not a divorce evangelist. I don't think divorce is a wonderful idea and everyone should run right out and get one. I mean, I haven't even gotten one yet. If I'm an evangelist for anything, it's for all of us to think a bit more deeply about marriage and why we care so much about it. And if we find ourselves facing the end of a marriage, maybe we